everyone. Welcome to the Yarn and Ewe Girl Podcast. I'm Janine, also known as Yarn and Ewe Girl, and this is my channel where I get to share with you all the crazy craftiness that I am doing. So mostly I will talk about knitting, but I do have some cross stitch today and a little bit of sewing that I've been inspired by, so I will share that with you guys as well. I also do a little bit of crochet, sometimes dabble into whatever is catching my fancy. So I hope that you're here to enjoy that, and welcome. So let's get started. It feels like it's been a million years since I podcast. The last episode was not even like a real episode. It was kind of these are my favorite things episode. So I didn't even talk about anything that I've been working on. And surprisingly, I don't really have any finished objects for that whole time. I had finished a couple in the episode previous, and I had a bunch of things that I'm starting. I'm kind of feeling like I'm still in a holding pattern for some ideas and some things that I am working out. So I will share some of that with you because I did get a little bit of information back on some of my design submissions. So I will share a little bit of that with you today, and we'll talk about what I have been working on other than knitting. It is June, but I am wearing a cozy today because it is kind of chilly out there and a little bit rainy, which is perfectly normal for Pacific Northwest. We had quite a lovely week this last week, and then just today happened to be a little drizzly and overcast, so I was looking forward to that because I get to pull out the knits, and I don't feel as inspired to knit when the weather is super hot. So part of that is the reason I've been doing some of these other crafts. As far as finished objects, like I said, I don't really have any. I do have a half finished object, so I'll share that. Two half finished objects. One of them's particularly special, so I will talk about that one in a minute. But this first one is my pair of socks for my husband. This is the Regia Pairfect. It's one of their newer Pairfect stripy. I did a pair for myself that kind of looked like 70s style. And so this was the other ball of yarn I had got that was the Pairfect, and did this first sock for him. Now, he doesn't have giant feet or anything, but he does have wide feet, or a lot wider than mine anyway, but not super long. He wears like a men's 9 or 9.5, so that's actually kind of a small shoe size, I guess, for such a tall guy. But these fit him. This fits him really well. This is the first pair of socks I have ever made for him. In the past, I haven't really been excited about making, you guys know, I've talked about this before. I don't really like knitting sometimes for other people, just because it takes a very long time, and then you give it away and they may not appreciate it. So for a long time, he didn't really want me to make him socks. He was just like, it's no big deal. You don't need to make me a pair, you know, and I would kind of put it off. But I decided that I thought this would be good. And he wears kind of fun socks, and I thought it's kind of the time now. I feel more able to knit for others because I have such a large knit wardrobe myself, or sock wardrobe myself, so making a pair of socks for somebody else didn't feel so daunting or so far along. And I've made socks for people before, and they've been like, oh, they're too nice to wear, and that just no, that's not happening. Like, you need to wear the socks that people make you, because it's a lot of effort that they've gone into to put, you know, make those socks for you, and they don't want them just sitting in your drawer like collecting dust. But anyway, so Regia Pairfect, I used US size 1s. I used my Addie's two 24-inch circulars because my 1s, I think, were being occupied by something, or my magic loop was being occupied by something else. Don't really know what at the time, but that's these, and I cast on 72 stitches and did a heel flap and gusset. This is just kind of my own makeup vanilla sock for him. I am going to try the Fitnilla pattern the next time I do a vanilla pair of socks, but I had already started this one, and so I will be doing that with the next pair of socks that I made. And the Fitnilla is a computer-generated pattern for no matter whatever size, whatever yarn weight or gauge. It's like that, like a ton of different sock patterns in one, and it creates and generates the sock pattern for you. And it's by my friend Naomi. She's Fiber Frosting, so you should check it out. It is she was really kind and gifted a pattern to me, so I was very excited because I'm looking forward to trying it out on my next pair of vanilla socks. So for that, that's, like I said, my half finished object. And then I did start his other sock, and I've gotten past the heel, and I picked up the stitches on the gusset and started decreasing the gusset. So these so far look like they're pretty well matched. That's actually the wrong way, Janine. Okay, more like that. So I think they got pretty matched up fairly well. The biggest issue you can get, the problem with these Pairfect ones, is if you're not careful about measuring at the beginning how much you cast on. It's not a big deal if you cast on maybe like with a cable method, but if you cast on long tail, you kind of have to know where you put your slip knot so that you end up with the same amount of tail for both of them, and that way you have the same size cuff for both of them, and then it starts, and it will be perfect at that point. So this is my kind of go-to for when I don't have anything. I don't really want to bring my big sweater project that I'm working on. I don't want to think about it. I just want to have something to do with my hands. That's what I'm working on. And these are for my husband. It's been nice to kind of do those, because getting them started was kind of hard, or getting that second sock started was hard because of the measuring that I had to do. But I needed a vanilla. I needed something to do where I wasn't thinking about things, because I have like a crochet pattern that I have to really focus on what I'm doing. I needed something to watch The Flash with. That's what we're watching these days with the kids, is all of the seasons of The Flash. We're only in maybe season 4 now, or season 3. I'm not sure. But, you know, when I'm up there, the kids don't want the lights on. It's super dark in the room, the TV room. And, you know, I need to be able to knit something while we're watching The Flash, because I get restless and can't sit down or sit still for that amount of time. And having something vanilla where I don't have to see what I'm doing is perfect for that. All right. So then the other half finished object, this is kind of the exciting one I'm very, very pumped about. I submitted designs. I think I told you guys this the last actual episode, but I submitted a design to the fiber company. They were doing a call for submissions for yarn support, where it's for their August 2019, or sorry, not August, autumn 2019 and winter 2020 like season. And they wanted designs either in a couple different styles of their yarn. And I happened to be thinking about a Fingerless Mitt pair of gloves, and I thought it'd be perfect for their yarn. Their yarns are they're solids or tonals, and it would show up this pattern that I was thinking of. And so I submitted the design idea, and they got back to me and said they were really excited about my design, and they wanted to support my give me yarn so that I could publish this design. So what that means is that they're going to send me the yarn to do the pattern. I will be calling for test knitters. The test knitters, if they are interested, they can contact the fiber company and get, I think it was 20% off the yarn if they wanted to use the yarn that I'm using for the pattern. And the pattern's supposed to publish in November. I think we decided on November 4th. So I do have quite a bit of time to kind of work it out. But I did sort of a mock-up, because my idea, when you submit the design ideas, it's just a concept basically, and maybe a swatch. So most likely a swatch. So I did a swatch, and then I kind of drew out a concept, and sort of explained what I thought I was going to do with it, and then submitted that. So I never actually knit the item. So I decided I had some Fiber Company in my stash, and the swatch I had done on a 3, and I was thinking it might be a little too big. But then, so I decided I would try to knit up this Fingerless Mitt in a 1, a US 1, because it's on fingering weight yarn. But then now that I've done it in a 1, it fits nice, but I think I want to do it in a 2 for the full pattern. So I will be working up another one, probably in a 2, to see the difference. But anyway, so this is sort of the mock-up. They said I could share all this stuff, which is kind of exciting because it's really my design, and I'll publish it like I normally would, but I will have yarn support from them, as well as they will help promote the pattern when it releases. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be very, very exciting. I'm still waiting to hear back from another company. They have a couple more weeks before they send out, the yeses or nos. So I'll let you guys know about that. I'll still be designing that idea as well, but I'm not going to talk about it quite yet because I'm not sure if they pick it, if I can share with it, you guys, or not, because that company does their stuff a little bit differently than the Fiber Company. The Fiber Company was very, yay, share, do whatever you want on social media. We would love to see the process. So I thought I would just get started and kind of share with you guys my concept. So Fingerless mitts, pretty normal, right? But this is the pattern idea that I came up with, and I really like the way it turned out. I was having some difficulty because this is reverse stockinette, I was having a little bit of difficulty with loose stitches here on where the cables came together. That's part of the reason, or where the needles, the magic loop was happening. It's part of the reason why I decided I'm going to try and go up a needle size, because I think if the stitches are overall a little bit looser, if the gauge is overall a little bit looser, that won't be such a big deal if it's a little loose there in the first place. Now, I did watch a couple tutorials on how to change that, and I tried doing that as I got up here closer to the actual edge here, but I didn't feel like there was any difference. And I don't know if that's the way I was doing it before. And it had to do with how you were coming at the first stitch, whether your needle was above your cable or whether the needle was below the cable. And so I tried that, and I don't know if it made a difference or not. I don't feel like it did make that much of a difference. It could be because the yarn is kind of slippery. It's Road to China Light, and Road to China Light is a baby alpaca, camel, silk, and cashmere blend, so quite slippery. And I was using metal needles, so might even be a good idea to try to knit it up on some wooden needles, but I don't know if I have any 2s that are wood needles. So and I don't usually knit with wood needles, but I think then they maybe wouldn't be as slippery when I'm knitting on it. And I was using my chow goos, and those are pretty fast. So I might end up using my maybe some Addies or something that has maybe the turbo lace has a little bit of almost like or not the turbo lace, but just the Addie lace. They have a little bit of a kind of a brushed metal, and they don't let the yarn slide through the needle as quickly, which might be better for the reverse stockinette. I do not know if it'll make a difference. I'm going to try it though. But I'm very excited about this pattern. I'm working on, this fits pretty well even with a 1. I'm working on making sure that the pattern placement, because it's just right here and I want it to be directly in the center of the back of my hand. I wanted to make sure that when I put the thumb gusset in, that it didn't, sometimes I've seen mine where the pattern, the thumb gusset pulls it over, to the side here, and then you have kind of this off center, and I didn't want that. I wanted to make sure that when you wore them, the pattern was directly centered in the design. So those are coming soon. They'll be coming in November. The pattern will be published in November. But for now, I am working on kind of just practicing with the design and working out the kinks. So I will be calling for test knitters probably in the next month or so. Or two, it depends. I know it's summertime, so things are going to get a little bit hairy. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about the yarn that I'm getting. So I'm waiting though to, knit up the next one, because even though I have one here, they're sending me some yarn in the color that that I chose, that they approved. Basically, I gave them a couple different options. I didn't know if they wanted some people to have, if they wanted to have patterns with multiple colors going on, if they didn't want all the same, everybody's picking the same, yarn, and then we're all doing the same pattern in red or whatever. So I'm waiting for the yarn to come before I start the other one. So I'm kind of in like I said, a holding pattern. But very, very excited about that. I was so thrilled that's the first time I've ever kind of put it out there to somebody else. Like, I put it out there to you guys, and whether or not people buy the pattern, it's not the same as getting approval from like a company who wants to support it. I just felt like it was more of a stressful concept that I was doing this time, instead of just like, oh, I'm putting it out there on my own. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. This was like, now I have to be professional and do it all the right way. So there's a little bit higher stress level to it, but I'm very, very excited, and I was really thrilled to be picked. So anyway, those are coming. So that is, I guess, half finished object number 2. I don't even know if I'll ever end up having a match to that particular one, because I don't know if I have enough of the that's Road to China Light in the River Dolphin colorway. I think it's River Dolphin. Yeah. And it was like a skein that I had, and I did the swatch in the skein, and they're only 50-gram skeins. So usually one I would think would be enough, but then because I did the swatch and because of the gauge, I thought maybe I would need 2, and I didn't want to bust into a second one or buy a second one when I was going to be using other yarn anyway. So maybe it'll get a mate later. I don't know. The other thing that I've been working on is my, what's it called? It's the one in the Laine magazine that I've been working on. Here we go. Arbusto. The one with all the baubles on it. Oh, excuse me. So this is Arbusto, and I totally spaced and didn't tell you who designed it, because you want to know that stuff, I'm sure. Arbusto by Rosa Pomar. It was in the Laine magazine number 6, autumn winter 2018 edition. And this I am doing in my Pop DK, which is 100% superwash merino. The color is burnt embers, and the way that you work it, you do it inside out. So right now I'm on one of the sleeves. I finally finished the body, but let me show you the right side so you actually can see where this is going and what it looks like. So I started the very first sleeve. I got to that the other day, and every time I have to do a bobble row, it takes a lot of time. So, but this is the Arbusto, and I am loving this yarn. I think this sweater will be great on top of a little dress, or over a denim collared shirt. It is supposed to be kind of short. I didn't make it cropped. I think they asked for it to be shorter than how I did it, but I wanted it a little bit longer. I wanted to be able to wear, I don't know. I'm not into the belly shirt yet. I don't know if I can do it. So, and maybe that's just like, I don't know, it's not really the most flattering style on me. If I had a skirt or a dress underneath, I think it would work really well, because then obviously the dress, especially if it was a big skirt that was I guess not like a pencil style, but a line skirt, then that would work pretty well. But I haven't done any of the crop tops like that everybody is into, like the soldatna. I don't even know if I said that right. And there's like the lollipop something or other. I don't know. I keep seeing them all over Instagram, and they're so cute, but I don't know if I could pull it off. I haven't quite branched out into that yet. We'll see. Maybe. So, oh shoot, my needles are going through. So I did knit this on a US 6, the main body, the edge is on a 4, and Burnt Embers is the colorway. Let's see if I can get that up there so you can kind of see. It's like oranges and pinks, and then overlaid with like browns and blacks and grays. It's so, so cool. I really, really love this color. It does not photograph very well, but it's beautiful and warm. Looking like the color has warmth to it, and it's something that I don't have a lot of in my wardrobe. So I'm really looking forward to this. The bobbles kind of feel funny, like when I go like, they sort of feel funny, and I wonder if I'll, they'll snag on things or anything. But I really love bobbles, so I thought I would give it a go. That's Arbusto by Rosa Pomar. I am knitting the medium size. I think my gauge might be a little bit smaller, so that's, but I tried it on and it fits really nice. It's not too tight, which I've had some trouble with in some of the sweaters that I've made in the past. So I'm thinking that that's going to work out pretty well. And I alternated skeins for the whole body of the pattern or the sweater, but I'm not doing that on the arms because I only have 2 partial skeins left, and I want to make sure that my arm lengths are the same. So I'm just going to use 1 for 1, and hopefully I'll get far enough that 3/4 length sleeve would be great. I would be fine with that, or full length sleeve, that'd be fine too. So, but I wanted to make sure I had enough for both arms to be equal, and I didn't want to bust into another skein because I felt like I could make it work with the 4 that I had. So that one's been really fun, but it's not going as quickly because it's a heavyweight sweater, and I don't really want to work on stuff that's heavy and that I'm not going to be able to wear right away. But that's okay. So the other thing that I put a little bit of time into is from the POMPOM Spring Edition. It's the crochet pattern that's in here. It's the what is it called? Water Clover by Isa Catepillan. And you guys have seen this one. I've showed you it a million times probably at this point. So it's the flowered crop top. Now this is going to be like a crop top, but it'll be, you'll wear it over something, so that's the whole point. I think this one will work out okay. I did try to put the tube that I'm making on my body, and it looked big enough, and it might, but I don't know if it actually will fit. We'll have to see. But I have made a little progress. Let me find where I am. This one is not going as fast. My row gauge in crochet is not as big as the pattern is calling for. So I'm having to do like extra repeats. I was already supposed to start, oh shoot, I'm undoing it. I was already supposed to start, with the front, separating the front and the back and into the arms, but I'm finding, oh my gosh, what is happening? That it's still pretty short, and I can't imagine that's going to be big enough. So we'll see. But so yeah, I went half an extra repeat already, and this is where they wanted me to start the arms, and I just felt like that wasn't going to be quite long enough, but we'll see. It's beautiful. I love it, but it is one of those ones I have to look at and watch because the yarn, if I stick my crochet hook in just slightly off, I, split the yarn, and that's frustrating, and so I'm having to pay attention a little bit more to this. So I can't do this when I'm not focusing, and I still don't have the pattern memorized. I can tell my gauge has gotten looser as I have crocheted this, though, because the bottom is definitely not as wide, so hopefully it will block out a bit and it will fit over my chest and stomach. So we'll see. It's really pretty, though. I really love this color. This is Paris Green. It's Hempathy, which is a modal hemp cotton, I think. Let's see. Oh, I actually have a ball band, guys. Imagine that. I never have a ball band. Hemp cotton modal, yeah. So, and the color Paris Green. So I really, really like it, but I'm not working on it as much either, even though this is the one I should be working on because it's going to be nice. And by the time I get finished with this, it'll probably be the end of summer and I won't have gotten to wear it. But that's okay. Next summer or those nice autumn days when it's really still quite warm out, we'll be fine. It'll be fine. So that is all the knitting and crocheting that I have been working on lately. I did pick up my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Into the Jungle cross stitch, and I really put some time into this lately because the lighting has been really nice and the weather has been really nice, and again, I didn't want to do all the knitting, so, and I want to get this done. My nephew, my nephews, I'm going to gift it to their mom, so that she can put it in their room. It's like they've got an animal theme room, right? But they're only going to have this animal theme room for so long, and then they'll be big kids and probably won't want the animal themed room anymore. So, yeah, I need to get this done. So, the last time I showed it to you guys, I only had 6 fully done. And now I've done 3.5 extra squares. So I just have 2 more squares to go. So the last time I was in the middle of the chameleon right down there. And then I did the bats recently, which I think are so cute. And then the parrots up there, and I think that's an anteater or something. I'm not even sure what that is. And then I started doing these birds that are white down at the bottom that you can't really see underneath the alligator or crocodile or whatever that is. So I've been working on that. I realized that I did the tiger in like the wrong orange, but I don't care. The whole time it was supposed to be, I think, in this orange down here, but I ended up doing it in the bright orange. But I like the bright orange. I think the bright orange works out, but the next one I have, so I have the birds, and then I have a leopard on the bottom, and then all I have to do is the top and border. So I'm really making some progress on this, but it'll probably still be quite some time before it's actually finished. And I found that I can't work on this when I have my contacts in. So I wear contact lenses normally, and lately when I'm wearing my contacts, if I'm trying to do up close work, I see double or really feel like I have to focus through the contacts. And I think it's my age, and I'm starting to kind of lose some of that up close vision. And before I could correct okay through the contact lenses, and now I can't. I don't have as easy of a time correcting through the correction, because I need the correction for the far vision so I can drive and do those things. And before I could look at up close things and I'd still be fine. But I think now I'm having to try to look through that correction, and my eyes just aren't doing it well enough. So when I work on this, I have to have my glasses on because that's easier. I can work through that correction easier than the contact lens for whatever reason. So I've noticed when I've tried to do it with my contacts and my X's are all wonky and they're not, it's just not as neat because I'm missing the hole, or missing the proper positioning. So that's what I've decided has to be done. I have to be wearing my glasses when I'm working on this because I'm getting old. Let's just face it. I'm in the pharmacy and I'm trying to read labels sometimes and I'm like doing this whole thing because so I started wearing my glasses to work because I can't see with my contact lenses when I need to read small stuff. And I had to pull out like the magnifying lamp, which is really a sign that I'm getting old because we always used to make fun of the pharmacists who had to pull out the magnifying lamp to look at the pill and make sure it was right. And yeah, I'm getting old. It's really sad, but oh well. Anyway, that is Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries, the Into the Jungle. It was last year's mystery stitch along, and yeah, I like it. I looked to see if there was what they were doing this year, and I wasn't really as excited about this one this year, so I do have another cross stitch project kind of lined up for after this, and that'll be what I do next time. But I'm almost done with this one, which is exciting because it's been over a year. I should have had it done in December if I was following along like I was supposed to. But no, I got to do my own thing. Okay, and then the last thing that I am making, I started following this girl on Instagram. She has an Etsy shop. It's called Rock Baby Scissors. And she's been making these really cool cell phone wallets. And she tagged where she got the pattern from. The pattern is part of a kind of like a series of bags. So you cannot buy the pattern by itself. You had to buy like the whole series. But it is multiple different styles of bags. And it is video tutorials. So step by step along the way, which is kind of stuff that I need when I'm doing something weird. And I really, really wanted this cell phone wallet, but there's multiple other wallets in the tutorial. There's like makeup bags and insulated picnic bags and different things like that. So I decided, okay, well, I'll splurge and I'll buy this whole series of patterns and I'll make it. At least I'll have this particular one, and if I like it and I want to make other ones, then I'll have it forever and whatever. And if I wanted to do one of the other bags, that'd be fine. It is definitely a bit of a splurge. So if you're not, if you just want the one pattern, it's not worth it for just the one pattern. But if you like some of the other patterns, then it's more worth it. You get like 13 bag patterns and videos and stuff to go with it. It's by a gal, So Sweetness is her Instagram name, and her website is sosweetness.com. And this one is the Day Trip cell phone. So this Rock Baby Scissors gal has been making these and selling them in her Etsy shop, which she has. She doesn't have any for sale currently. But she's been posting them because apparently at one point she had a custom order option available, and she got like so many orders she had to close down the custom order option because she cannot keep up. And she showed her list the other day on Instagram of how many people she has custom orders for, and she's like, I'm doing them the best I can, and they might be a little late and this and that, but I mean, she like got a ton of people, and they're beautiful. She uses in a lot of Allison Glass's trinket fabrics that from that quilt set. I think if you watch the Fiber Hustle, Chips used that for his recent quilt that he did, the 3-dimensional one. And I mean, they're beautiful rainbow colored pattern pieces. And then she's been doing them a lot with like kind of like a quilted front. I went a little basic on my first one, but I am just using some leftover scraps basically. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I thought maybe the first one I should make should just be with leftover scraps to make sure that I know what I'm doing and I do a decent job. So my pattern. I can't show you the picture of the cell phone, but you can check out some already done ones if you go to Rock Baby Scissors on her website or on her Instagram. You'll see all the ones that have been making me so want to make this. And that's the reason I bought the whole tutorial, because I wanted that cell phone pouch so bad, and I kept going back to it and kept looking at it and kept looking at her Etsy shop to see if she'd put any in there. And then I saw her list and I was like, yeah, I'm never getting one of those, because she's gonna be done making them and they won't go in the shop, and by the time I want one, I kind of want one now. It's that instant gratification. So I'm gonna try and do it myself. I can sew, I can figure this out, and with a tutorial I'm hoping it'll be good to go. So my main fabric, I had to go with 3 different fabrics, but that I'm kind of excited about the fabric choices I've got. So my outer area will be this Parisian. The outside of it will be this. I've got 2, and I got to use some interesting interface that I've never used before. This has got foam interfacing on it. Never used that before. There's so many different interfaces. I had no idea. So I had this pattern in particular calls for foam interface, fleece interface, and some other so stable interface. I don't even know what these things are. I had to go and ask the gal at Joann's because I was like, I don't know if this is right. So this is going to be the front and the back, and I'm doing the vertical version. There are 2 versions. There's a vertical and then a horizontal one. I like the vertical one. I'm doing the vertical version. And so this is front and the back. My interior fabric is going to be this with a smattering of this. So it will be like these 3. But then I didn't have enough fabric. I didn't understand, for one, all the cutting instructions. So I went through it multiple times before I did it. And then I was watching the video and trying to figure out which pieces were what. And I realized that I didn't have enough fabric for the outer. There's like an outer edge piece, but I didn't know what that was for. And a lot of the way the pattern is done is that you have a template for these types of pieces, but then everything else, if it's a square or a rectangle, it's just measurements. It's just like, hey, cut yourself this amount by this amount in this fabric. So I needed to cut some, it's like the exterior something or other. But I did not have enough of the Parisian fabric left after I'd cut the pocket and the flap and everything. I didn't have enough for the length. So I just decided, you know what? It's going to be patchwork, whatever. So for the exterior and the interior, around the edges here, is going to be this. I figure it kind of goes with the blue. So this is some leftover I had from an apron that I made. I love this fabric. I don't have a ton of it left, so I thought it'd be great to just mix it in with this. So the 3, together, they'll be like, now you can't even see it. So, yeah. I think it'll be good. I'm excited. So I haven't gotten very far. I basically got everything cut out and everything interfaced at this point. And I've done the strap, or most of the strap. And then I started on, it has these little side tabs that the strap, you can hook a swivel hook to. See, I don't even know what half of these things were to begin with. So, let me see if I can find what I did with my swivel hooks. Did I get it in my lap? I hope I didn't drop them. They're so small. And I wanted to show you because this was another thing I never even heard of. I'll tell you in just a minute, but I was like floored. So this is the strap. And again, this one was supposed to be, the strap was supposed to be in the exterior fabric, but I was like, I'm going to do contrast because it's my own. But I did the strap. I think I did a pretty good job. well, you can't even see my stitching, but I feel like I did a good job. And I still need to attach the swivels to the end, but before I do that, I had to attach these D-clips to make these little side tabs. But this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Let me just tell you this. I had no idea there were these things. I mean, obviously it's just like a little claw clip, right? But instead of using pins, you claw the thing together. Like, this is mind-blowing to me because all of my sewing life has been using pins. And I feel like sometimes I can't get the edges lined up perfectly because when you go to stab the pin in there, you get, it gets off a little bit. She said to, use these, and the way she was doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. So if you have not seen these and don't know what they are Clover Wonder Clips. And these are super cool. It must be because I learned from my mom, and she's kind of old school, and they didn't have stuff like this maybe when she was sewing. It was only pins. So all I learned about was pins. I had no idea these existed. So this was so cool to me. But anyway, so I still have to sew. I've got my little D-ring on there. I have to sew these little sides onto the back panel piece. Like, they'll go kind of like up here, and that'll be where the strap will connect to with the for the cell phone case. So that was super cool. I'm excited about that. I've been kind of pumped to do this project, but now I'm waiting on zippers too. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to get because I needed to get the pattern called for like a double purse zipper, and it needed a 24 or a 30 inch, and Joann's only goes up to 22. They had single zippers that went up to 24, and I guess I could have done a single for the pattern, but it called for the double, so I was, I need to go with the double. And then I still need to go in and get some zippers for the, there's some internal zippers in the pockets, and that's going to be on this fabric. This is like zipper pocket fabric. So I didn't know the colors I was going to go with when I went to Joann's to get like the D rings and the swivel clips and the little magnetic snappy thing that I need. So I didn't buy any zippers at Joann's because I wasn't sure of the color, and they come in, 1,000 different colors. So now that I have kind of the color palette that I've got going on, I might end up picking like a hot pink that would maybe match this part, and then it would kind of contrast out here, or I might just do a turquoise and it will be the same. The outside zipper is just going to be black. It's just like a black zipper, and yeah, I'm kind of excited. I think this might be above my my skill level, but I'm going to try it. You can't expect to be great at something right off the bat, right? But you can't get better at something without trying. So I am going to give this a try, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'll keep you guys posted on my progress and whether or not I did an okay job with zippers and all these little extra things, because I don't do that kind of stuff. Like my sewing, drawstring or elastic band, no zippers. I did one zipper in a dress and it turned out okay. It wasn't great. It was, it needed some work, but it's okay. I tried. So I need to get more comfortable with those types of things. So I'm giving it a try. So that's pretty much what I got for projects, guys. Lots and lots of new stuff. And I did get a little bit of acquisition recently. I don't know if you guys follow Rebecca of the Mean Girls. She had like a tooth emergency and was auctioning off some yarn to help support her tooth surgery that she had to have done, at which I totally get. Having dental work, even with insurance, so expensive. which is probably part of the reason why a lot of people put it off and don't do things, like that. And even, those emergency things that happen, you still are like, sometimes you cannot afford it. So she was auctioning off a bunch of yarn, and I thought I'd support it. And I bought this hand spun, which I don't spin. You guys, I tried and I thought it was fun, but I don't have a wheel and I don't have time because I'm doing all these other things that I thought, well, she had this beautiful hand spun up for auction, and so I bid on it, and I am so excited. It is gorgeous. I think it's like a worsted weight, and I have no idea how many yards I've got here, which is kind of a little scary. But it could be a hat probably, or some gloves. It's really beautiful. It could go in my pinguono when I decide to start that. That's what Rebecca thought I should do, is put it in my pinguono. But I haven't started that one yet. But it's beautiful. It's soft too. Like whatever fiber she used was a really good fiber content. So I am very excited about this. So thank you, Rebecca, for having a tooth problem so I could purchase this yarn. It just gave me a good excuse to do it. I hope you're healing well, by the way, if you're watching this. The other thing I bought is some mustache yarn, must match sock. This is the sport weight, sport self-striping sock. So a little bit heavier weight sock. I'm not done. I think Blue Moon Fiber Arts does socks that rock in the medium weight. It's like a heavier weight sock. And I've done one sock in that before, but I haven't done a full pair in something that's like a sport weight. So this is actually what I plan on using, that Fitnilla pattern I was telling you about for, because it's a sport weight sock. I'm not sure what my gauge is going to be. I'm going to do up a little, start a little circle swatch or whatever, and then kind of see where I am. And then I'll follow the little formula and see what it shows up, how I'm supposed to do it with these socks, and hope that they fit well. So, they're supposed to. So anyway, these are 80/20 merino nylon, sport weight, 328 yards and 100 grams. So I'm thinking a sport weight, I'd probably use like a 2 or a 3 for the socks. I don't know. Has anybody ever done sport weight socks before? And what needle would you guys suggest attempting? Let me know in the down bar below. Those are my only acquisitions. That's pretty much all I've got going on right now. I am, like I said, still waiting for the yarn from the fiber company, and I'm waiting to hear back from another company about a design. It's almost the end of the school year, so I'm so looking forward to that. We're going to go on vacation here in a couple weeks, so that will be nice and relaxing, because I've been working at the pharmacy way more than necessary than I want to. But things are changing in that realm of my life. It's definitely not the same as it was when I first got out of school. It's so we'll have to see how it goes. It used to be pharmacists were in such demand, and now it's like we're a dime a dozen, and we could easily replaceable, maybe. Who knows? It's a little scary. So my husband and I are contemplating getting licensed in some of these rural states, maybe Alaska, maybe Idaho, because those are areas that they still need pharmacists. I don't really want to move right now because my parents are here, and I need to be here and close to them, I think, at least for now, because of everything that's happening with my mom, and my family's all here. So I don't really want to move, but we're thinking of it as a backup plan if we need to. And it might end up being Alaska, because they're still high demand, because nobody wants to go up there. So, and I don't think I would care that much, if I did end up going up there. But we might end up having to wait on that and push through, school and everything for the kids, because I don't know if I'd want to move them up there until they're done with school. So we'll have to see. The other thing I'm very excited about Sorry, I'm yawning. I need to yawn, actually, but I'm trying not to do it on the camera. The other thing I'm really excited about is we just had our Washington, D.C. meeting. My son's in 7th grade this year, and next year the 8th graders go to Washington, D.C. And we've been fundraising for this for a couple years. And our class raised $36,000 or something like that over the last couple years. So the cost for the kids to go is going to be probably, there's 30-ish kids in the class. So less than about $1,000 maybe for the kids to go to Washington, D.C., plane, hotel, the whole tour and everything. So that's actually quite exciting because, we were going to let him go anyway, but now we don't have to put out as much for him, and I can go as a chaperone. Well, I'm not technically a chaperone. I'm an adult on the trip, but I really want to go. I've been wanting to go to Washington, D.C. since I was in the 8th grade. My class went, or some of the students in my class went. It wasn't really all the kids went because it was a public school, obviously, and you signed up if you could afford to go. But I did have friends who went, and I wanted to go, but my parents could not afford to send both my sister and I to DC. I mean, we just didn't have the money. So I've been wanting to go my whole life. I've been to New York, and I've done, a couple days in New York. I've never seen anything else of the East Coast. I don't really count Florida as the East Coast because I'm thinking New England area, and that sort of upper East Coast. So I don't have any idea of what it's going to be like. I know that you take a red eye when we leave here, and we hit the ground running, and we're boom, 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 all day. It's going to be a super energized, hyped up trip. I'll probably be exhausted, but I am looking forward to it. It's going to be in April next year. And I've already signed up. I've signed up Jordan, and, I'm so excited. I want April to be here, right now. So I'll have to wait, though. But, yeah, it's going to be cool. And it'll be cool going with him and his class. And I love the parents in that class. They're all amazing. So any of the other adults that are going, it's just going to be a really fun time. So I'm looking forward to that. That's it, guys. That's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and get out there, try something new, be crafty. See you later.